Okay, hello, good afternoon. Can see my screen, right?
Can.
Okay. So happy to see a few familiar faces again. Thank you so much for joining us again this afternoon. Okay, so today's topic will be about stress. Okay, so okay, wait Okay, so stress, we all know that stress is present in our everyday life, right? So, every time, people ask us, how's your life going on? We always say, stress lah, stress. Everything is stress, right? Increase, some GST increasing, things like that, like living costs are increasing. So definitely you'll feel stress. This is the context that we live with in the current day. But do is stress really that bad? Okay, so that's today's topic lah. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so just a welcome note. Okay, of course, while I'm speaking, I will appreciate if you guys mute yourself. But otherwise, when I open the ground up for any questions, do feel free to raise any questions if you have any. Okay, and of course, I would love to see your faces and reactions as well. So thank you so much, Madam Tan and Peggy for switching on your camera. Glad to see some familiar faces. Hello. Okay, so today's speaker will be myself. So my name is Jing Yu. I'm from the CREST program. Hello, Madam Neo. Nice to see you as well. Okay, so I've been working at NTUC Health for about 9 years plus, providing care to the vulnerable and both vulnerable or well seniors. Okay, so I'm trained in psychology as well as social work. Okay, I hope I still look the same in the photo. I think never bluff look the same. Okay, wait, my laptop is a bit slow. Okay. So today's information, right, is for your disclaimer first, because today's information that I'm sharing is just for your information only. So of course, if let's say you have any medical health related not things that you want to ask, right, it's always best to ask your medical practitioner lah, which is your doctor. Okay, but otherwise, this information is just for sharing, general purpose sharing only lah. Okay. Okay, so what do we see in the news today, right? We found that Singapore actually spends quite a bit, on its healthcare expenditure on stress-related illnesses. Okay, because stress is just stress, right? But in more severe cases of someone being stressed, right, it can actually give way to a lot of other mental health related illnesses, such as anxiety or depression. Okay, so actually, our proportion that we spend on stress-related illnesses will actually come out the second highest, okay, just behind Australia. Okay, and Australia itself is very big already. So just imagine we are coming just second behind Australia. Singapore is just like a small fraction of the size of Australia's population. Okay, so that's how much we're actually spending on stress-related illnesses. Okay, so actually the other 7 regions that spend a lot also, right, like Hong Kong, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, and UK and the US. Okay, so this is just to give you a gauge that the amount that we spend on such illnesses is actually on par with a lot of the other larger countries. Okay. Okay, so okay, we all have been through the COVID-19 period, right? Okay, so actually a study found, that they did with regards to the COVID-19, right? They found that actually that period took quite a big toll on everyone's mental well-being. Okay, so they found that actually more than 1,000 people found that 7.8% met the criteria for clinical depression. Okay, so and it also found that 9.4% met the criteria for clinical anxiety. Okay, so it's almost 10% each for depression and anxiety. Okay, so actually the study to assess the psychological impact of COVID-19 in Singapore, right, found that nearly 1 in 10 respondents met the criteria for mild to severe stress, okay, caused by various factors such as financial fears over the pandemic. They worry whether or not they will lose their job, or if let's say they lost their job, then how are they going to find another job? Okay, or worries about their own health as well, and then worry about whether their own family or friends could be infected and whether or not they can recover. Okay, so on this topic of worry, right, then we ask ourselves, what is stress? Okay, because everyone knows of stress, okay, but I mean each of us have our own interpretation of what stress constitutes lah. Okay, I believe most of us think that stress is bad in general. Okay, so today we also try to answer the question of, is stress good or bad? Okay, and then having learned about this, I would like to share with you how to identify the different signs of stress. How would you be able to tell when you are stressed or not? Okay, and because we all go through this in our everyday life, what are the impacts and the signs of someone who is very stressed? Okay, and most important of all, how do we manage it? Okay. Okay, so so quick question, right? Okay, so what is stress? Okay, we have A, B, C, D here. Okay, so you just have, if let's say you don't mind answering, you don't mind sharing, you can let me know which letter do you think constitutes the correct answer, or like what do you think lah? Okay, so A is when we feel under pressure. Okay, B is when we don't feel in control. C is when we are struggling to cope with things, or is it D, stress is all of the above? Okay, so who thinks that it's A? Okay, A no,
D.
Who,
D.
what, sorry?
D.
D, okay, who thinks that it's D? D for dog. Who thinks, I see Peggy raising her hand. Okay, D, D for dog, Anyone thinks that it's other than D or not? Is it C or not? No, okay, let me see. Got someone in chat, is it? Okay, Daisy responded D also. All of the above. Okay, so actually you guys are right. Stress constitutes A, B, and C. Okay, so it's when we feel under pressure, we don't feel that we are in control, and we feel that we are struggling to cope with things. Okay, it's more like you are outside of your comfort zone. Okay, so it's all of the above. You guys got it right. Okay. Okay, so stress is actually a physical, mental, or emotional tension you feel when dealing with change, okay, or your body's response to change. So usually it's always when we feel discomfort, like when things change, especially like, the GST change, everyone is stressed, right? Or like now last time chicken rice only $2, now chicken rice changed to $3, stress. Okay, so it's usually a response to the different changes around us. Okay, so stress is not what happens to us. Okay, it happens to everyone. Okay, so but rather it is our own response to what happens. Okay, and then of course our own response, we can choose how to respond to the external stimulus. Okay, so remember, the same thing happens to everyone. So it's not just the GST increase for you only. The GST increases for all of us. Okay, so the change happens to all of us. We all grow old as well. But of course, it is how we perceive it and our own response to the things that happen to us. Okay, so that is how we learn how to manage our own stress lah. Okay, so now that we know a bit more familiar about stress, right? Okay, so is stress good or bad? Okay, who thinks that stress is bad? Stress is bad. I don't like stress.
It's relatively.
So it's relatively bad, is it?
Yes.
So it's more
so
it's more leaning towards the bad side lah, correct? Okay. Who thinks it's good one? Like, I love stress. I love it. Every morning when I wake up, I want to be stressed.
I don't think anyone will like it.
Don't think anyone will like it, Okay. So you're right. So in general, to us, right, the meaning of stress, I would say, is more leaning towards the negative side lah. No one when they are happy, they will say I'm stressed one lah. Okay, so most likely when we say we are stressed, it's a negative meaning lah, okay? So that's why it's leaning towards the more bad side. Okay, but is it really bad for us? Okay, that's what we'll move on to find out. Okay, so actually for stress, right, everyone goes through it, right? You know, you wake up at the start of the day, from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed, definitely there will be a few instances during the day whereby you might feel stressed. Okay, like suddenly maybe you get a phone call saying that, oh, you know, your family member is sick, for example. Then if it's someone really you're really close to you, or your friend that you know has fallen sick. Nowadays a lot of people get COVID, very common now. Very common now. I think December period, wow, I think a lot of people in my friend zone or what all got COVID one. So, you know, upon hearing all this, then wow, I also stressed. Right? Everyone is falling sick around me. When will it be my turn, you know, or will I kena or not? I also stress, right? So stress is a very normal feeling to have. Okay. But of course, this stress itself can also be divided into a few categories. Okay. So we have the one that we are most familiar with, right, is distress, okay, and stress. Okay, so stress you can see is the one in the middle. Okay, that one is like moderate stress lah. You feel anxious or you feel pressured. Okay, then of course you have the distress. Okay, distress is when something really bad, something really serious happens to you, and that's the point whereby you feel extreme anxiety, sorrow, or pain. So this, I mean, to put things into perspective, right, distress is usually, you know, when, for example, a loved one meets a serious accident, or when a family member passes away, right? So these are feelings of distress, like very severe anxiety or sorrow. Okay, but otherwise, usually we get by the day at the middle level, which is just feelings of anxiety or pressure. Of, for example, it could be like okay, you're supposed to meet your friend, right, at 2 p.m. Then maybe 1 p.m. you look out of the window. Wow, you know, recently the sky is so dark, that rain so heavily. Then you'll be like thinking, wow, that place is so far. The rain is so heavy. How am I going to go there and meet my friend in time? You know, so things like that makes you feel anxious and pressured, right? Things that we don't like lah. So this is feelings of stress. Then of course we also have the more positive stress called the eustress. Okay, so eustress is existent, but that one I will go into more depth in the later slides. Okay, so just know that there are positive as well as negative stresses. Okay. Okay, so just now we touch on eustress, right? So eustress is actually healthy, positive stress. Okay, so this form of stress is a positive form that has a beneficial effect on our health, motivation, performance, and emotional well-being. Okay, so how does this eustress work? It's something like maybe if you have a group of friends, right? Then they every time they say, oh, we go down and walk, go down and exercise together, and then maybe you didn't have this habit last time. Okay, maybe you don't like to walk, you're not so active, but because you got to know this group of friends, then they say, hey, come lah, Peggy, come and walk with us, and then maybe, of course, if you don't have this interest to begin with, maybe you're like, "Ayya, should I or not? Ayya, sian eh, don't feel like going." But because they come and chocho you, they can say, "Hey, Peggy, come on, walk with us." Then you okay lah, go lah. Then along the way, you keep walking with them, exercising with them, then you found that, hey, after walking and exercising with them, wow, my health actually improved also, you know. Then so okay, so as you can see, so there's some form of a positive impact on your life. Okay, even though you might be a bit stressed, you'll be like, this thing, I don't feel like doing, but okay lah, I just go lah. My friends ask me go, then you go. So in the end, there was still some form of positive impact lah. So this is eustress lah. It's not a stress that will really affect your general well-being until like you won't cry, right? It's not like your friends ask you to go, then you will cry and say, oh no lah, I don't want lah, you won't, right? So this is still some form of discomfort because you have to step outside of your comfort zone, but it's not to the point whereby it causes anxiety or sorrow lah. Okay. Okay, so is it possible to have no stress in life at all? Okay, is it possible? of course, sometimes we think that no stress is the best lah, right? I mean, who wants to be anxious and pressured every day, right? But if let's say we don't have any stress, right, then of course these are the possible occurrences that we might feel bored with low motivation. Okay, maybe every day you just do the same thing, nothing, very stagnant, and then feels very unproductive. So this might or might not be a good thing as well. Okay, because we always need to feel engaged. I mean, as humans, we have the need to feel engaged and feel active also lah. So if let's say we don't have any stress, we choose not to have any stress. Of course, best to always minimize the amount of stress that we have in our life. But if we totally have no stress, like totally don't do anything, if I don't do anything, then I have no stress. Okay, technically this is how it works. If I don't do anything, I just sit at home all day and I won't have any stress. But is that really a good thing? Because if you don't do anything, you don't really use your mind is not active, then this might also bring about other mental health related issues such as depression. Okay, and then we don't want that to happen. So some stress is necessary to keep a balance and keep our mind active. Okay, because when you're stressed, right, then you will think about, hey, how can I lower my own stress levels? So in that case, in these circumstances, you are still using your mind to think and problem solving lah. So that still keeping your mind active lah, which is a good thing also. Okay, exercising your mind. Okay, so of course, then we have the last one, which is distress. Okay, distress is very, very bad in terms of because it causes extreme fear and anxiety. Okay, you know the feeling whereby you always constantly worried and uptight, and then then you have no appetite, don't feel like doing anything because your whole mind is just preoccupied about that particular issue, or whether you are exhausted. Then it can also bring about discomfort and illness, and then also cause a lower in performance level. Okay, so this one is unhealthy stress because it really affects your everyday life. Like you are so preoccupied or so impacted by this, right, that you just cannot function properly anymore. Okay, like breakdown. But of course, it is also sometimes it's a part of a natural process lah. Because like okay, for example, like you see maybe a loved one, like own family member pass away, right? Naturally, you will go through this. Okay, like if let's say maybe a touch wood lah, your spouse or your family member pass away, confirm you will feel very sad one. So of course for the next few days or maybe for the next few weeks, you might not even feel like doing anything because you are just so impacted physically and mentally also lah. But of course, hopefully we don't stay in this state for too long. Okay, because if we stay in this distress state for too long, then it will lead to more long-term effects like depression or suicidal ideation and things like that. So or we develop like an anxiety disorder, which we don't want to lah. Okay, so it is how we also balance out this if let's say we do get into this state, the question is how do we balance and get ourselves out of it. Okay, so that one later we will talk about stress management lah, right? Okay, so after we know more about use positive and the negative stress like distress, okay, so how do we know which is which? Okay, so of course we have as we go about our daily lives, there are two different kinds of stresses. Okay, so the one on the left is your external stresses. Okay, so these are caused by anything that is external. It could be other people, it could be your workplace, it could be your other family members. Okay, it could be the government, it could be news, things like that. Okay, so things like that, it could be like a major life change, whether you move house, you change neighbors. Okay, toxic environments. Okay, whether is it brought about by injuries or illnesses. Okay, financial stress or pressures at the workplace. Okay, so basically everything that is external, which is not so much being able to be controlled by yourself lah. Okay, then of course we have the internal stresses. So internal stresses are things that come from within ourselves. Okay, it could stem from our own fear of change. Okay, fear of stepping out of our own comfort zone. Whether do we have high expectations of ourselves, and whether we know that we can meet these expectations or not. Okay, so if we have high expectations of ourselves, but at the same time, realistically, we might not be able to meet these expectations, right? Then of course, there's an internal struggle and an internal fear that we might not be able to meet, which brings about high stress levels. Okay, then of course, there's also the possibility of negative self-talk. Some people maybe not so positive with regards to their own personality. They tend to tell themselves that you cannot do it one. Some people can tell us more confident maybe. They will tell themselves, yeah, I can do it, no problem, I will cope with it. But different people, different coping mechanisms. So some people, they tend to self-cope by telling themselves, you can't make it one, it's very difficult for you, you can't do it, things like that. So all this negative self-talk has a tendency to also increase our own internal stress levels. Okay, or the perceived lack of control as well. Like we feel that the task at hand is too much for us to handle, and then we feel that I can't do it. So this also cause us stress. Okay, like for example, at the workplace, if my boss tell me, okay, you're going to do this ABCD task, and then to me, I feel that wow, this ABCD task is so difficult, so high level for me. I'm just a small worker, small fry only. I can't do it. Then of course I will feel very stressed, right? Because I feel that I don't have control over this, and also because my boss tell me to do, so I have to do, right? So I feel the lack of control, which brings about a high stress, internal stress level. Okay, and then of course perfectionism is also another thing, whereby it's tied in together with the one for high expectations. So I must do this particular thing in a particular way, otherwise I won't be happy. But sometimes the things that you have to do is not just you oneself do can already, because it involves a lot of other people as well. So other people, when they're involved, they also have their own ways of doing things. So of course, if I can't do it the way that I want to, it will also cause myself high stress. Okay, because this is not the way I want to do this thing. Okay, so there are both environmental stress, outside external stresses, as well as internal stresses that come from our own personalities and characteristics. Okay. Okay, so there are two types of stress as well. So the first is acute stress. Okay, so acute stress is a short-term stress that goes away quickly. Okay, it occurs when you do something new or exciting. Okay, maybe you sit on a roller coaster, or you slam on the brakes when driving, things like that. So it's just that you feel the adrenaline when you do these things. But as fast as it comes, it goes away quickly as well. Okay, so there's no prolonged or long-term effect. Okay, as for chronic stress, okay, this one lasts for a longer period of time. So we are talking about maybe about weeks. Okay, and if it remains unresolved, it may lead to health problems. So for chronic stress, some examples would be like, cannot sleep at night. At night when you want to go to sleep, you just instead of sleeping in maybe half an hour, you end up, lying in your bed for a longer period of time, keep tossing and turning because you keep worrying or thinking about a certain matter. It could be a health related or family related problem. So this thing can last for weeks, which might impact your life negatively as it goes on. Okay. Okay, so how do you generally react to stressful situations? Okay, so because just now earlier on I mentioned that stress is what we make of it, right? So actually it is not really what happens to us, but rather our response to such situations. Okay, so there are actually two ways that we can react to this kind of situation, to stressful situations. So the question is, do we react or do we respond? Okay, so given any situation, what is the difference between whether we react or whether we respond? Okay, so for the reaction, okay, reaction is automatic. Okay, so like when your friend tells you a joke, which is funny, right? Then your automatic reaction will be to laugh. Okay, so it's very automatic. very instinctive and very immediate. Okay, and then it usually often involves a lot of emotions. Okay, whether is it anger, whether is it happiness or sadness. Okay, that's a reaction. Okay, but opposing it will be response. Okay, so response. Okay, how do we define response? Okay, so response actually takes more time and effort. The response is more deliberate with consideration. So when we are young, or when then our parents will always tell us, think before you act, or think before you speak, because what you say out or how you react might also affect what other people feel as well. Okay, so a response is more deliberate, like you run it through your mind. If it's appropriate, then you respond in kind. Okay, and then it creates a space between the trigger and what you do or don't do. Okay, so this is the difference. So when we are faced with a stressful situation, do we just react? Like, do we, okay, so for example, people say pek cek, so when the government throws us things or implement some new changes, do we all just say, why like that? Okay, so when we are all angry and upset, right, this is a reaction. But then if we think about it, okay, think through it relatively calmly, and then think about, hey, why is the government increasing all this living costs? But at the same time, are they also doing anything else to offset these living costs? Okay, so that's how we respond to all these stressful situations. Okay. So the difference between is, okay, so so for reaction, right, it is a trigger, which is the change in the situation and whatnot. Then usually the reaction is panic. Okay, so trigger, then panic, then proceed. Okay, so that's for reaction. But for the response situation, right, even though the trigger happens, we pause and we process and then we plan before we proceed. So that's the difference of how we can possibly react to potentially stressful situations. Okay. Okay, so for this, okay, so after we know, or rather after we equip ourselves with the knowledge of how to react, right, we also want to learn how to identify our own signs of stress. Okay, like how would we know whether we are stressed or not? Okay, because sometimes the effects come first, right? They come so quickly, and then before we know it, there might be some long-term or significant impact already. So the issue at hand is that we want to learn how to identify such signs as early as possible, so that we can put a stop to it, or at least alleviate it a little, reduce the stress levels. Okay, so how to tell whether you're stressed? I think everyone quite familiar. Okay, when you are easily irritated and will lose your temper easily. Okay, feeling excessive guilt over something that you think you should have done at that point in time but did not do. Okay, or whether you are feeling depressed or anxious. Okay, or whether apathy is devoid of feelings lah. So you just don't care anymore. Okay, so even if it doesn't mean that you must be angry or anxious about regarding this thing, then you are stressed. Okay, similarly, if this person also doesn't care anymore, 我不管了, I don't just totally don't want to hands off, that kind of thing, it could also be a sign of stress, because for these people who totally don't care anymore, their way of coping with stress would be just to totally eliminate that situation, like running away from reality as well. Okay, so that's for emotions. We move on into the cognitive portion. Okay, so when we are stressed, right, sometimes it also affects our decision making capabilities. Okay, so it's also sometimes that we find that we are stressed, that we make very rash decisions, or very sudden or abrupt decisions, which most of the time will be the wrong choices lah. Okay, usually when we are stressed, we tend to make like the most comfortable or the most easiest take the most easiest way out, okay, to try to bring us back to the original non-stressed state. But sometimes in the process, we tend to make our stress even worse by making all these not so good decisions. Okay. So you also find that you will be unable to concentrate or focus on the task at hand because your mind is just so preoccupied with, worry about, oh, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? If goes wrong, then how will it affect my job? Will it affect my life? Things like that. So with all these worries thrown into place, right, you probably might not be able to focus and concentrate. Okay. Then of course, for the last portion, physical, okay, people who are stressed because they're constantly worrying, their mind is constantly overdrive and thinking too much. You also find that your heart might also beat faster. It's a faster blood flow because when you are anxious, right? Anxious, then your faster blood flow, more kanchiong. So you will tend to feel fatigued and exhausted. Okay, because your heart has to go, work extra harder to pump blood throughout your body. Then of course, for those people with stress that can last over, like chronic stress, are unable to have a proper appetite, cannot sleep at night, things like that, you also find that they will undergo some weight loss and then or weight gain even without much changes to their diet. Okay. Then of course you also experience muscle aches and pain. Okay. Especially maybe you will think that because I'm sure if you guys are familiar with Chinese TCM, whenever most of the time when you are stressed, we tend to hunch our shoulders, like keep our shoulders hunched, things like that. So these are all subconscious movements that we do whenever we are tense, right? So you'll find that, oh, you know what, then when you go TCM or what, then the person say, wow, you very stressed, your shoulder muscles all very hard, that kind of thing. So these are one of the possible side effects of stress as well. Stress as well, like around the neck or maybe around the temples or shoulders as well. Okay, so we all have our own subconscious movements, okay, that relates to stress. Okay, so similarly, we will also experience headaches and insomnia because our mind is still consistently preoccupied about the issue at hand. Okay, so these are just some. There might be more as well, but these are the more common side effects of stress. Okay. Okay, so of course, impacts of prolonged stress. Okay, so with regards to mental health, if we prolong the stress, like prolong ourselves to be in this position of stress, right, then of course it might lead to depression and anxiety. Okay, that's for mental health. With regards to physical health, it might cause high blood pressure. Okay, because our heart has to work extra hard to pump the blood throughout the body, right? So high blood pressure might cause stroke, heart attack, or even skin problem. Okay, and then for emotional health, it might not be very good as well because we either don't care anymore, or we are constantly in a very angry state, or in a very it could also be because jealous state. So basically we're just so filled with a lot of negative feelings that it will impact our long-term mental health because all these negative feelings are pent up for so long without any form of release. So these are the possible impacts that if we keep all this stress inside ourselves for too long, this is what can result. Okay, so if you already have a health condition, like high blood pressure or past history of stroke, for example, then chronic stress can actually make it worse. Okay. Okay, wait, I think my slides are a bit slow. Sorry, my slides are still stuck at this screen, right? Like the impacts of prolonged stress.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Let me see if I can do something about it. Wait, let me just stop the share and I'll share it again. Give me a moment.
Yes, thank you. No stress.
Yeah, see, wow, now I stress, yeah, because you're you're waiting for me. Okay, wait, wait. Yeah, this one is like an example of acute stress lah, because it is so you see so it just happened for a short time, right? So I might be stressed now, but after I resolve this, the stress should go away lah. Okay, so let me just reload the page a while because I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Okay, let me just share this.
Okay, can see already.
Can see, yeah, but my laptop very slow though. Wait. Give me a moment. Sorry, the slides are slow.
Jinyu, do you need my help?
You can help me? You can help me?
You can.
Actually,
You just tell
okay,
me
okay.
to go next. Okay, wait.
Okay, thanks, Wani. Okay. Okay, so the next, okay, so we can go to the next slide. Thanks.
Wait. For some reason I cannot, hold on.
Okay. Oh, I flash mine now. I think I can flash mine now. Yeah, I flash mine. Sorry guys, sorry. Okay, can see, right?
Can.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
come. Okay, so how do we manage our stress, right? After we know about all this, okay. So there are different types of self-care to help us keep our stress levels at the normal level. Okay, so definitely there will be some form of stress in our life, we can't reduce it to completely zero, but there are ways to keep it at a healthy level. Okay, so one is physical. Okay, how do we manage stress physically? Our emotional and of course our social. Okay, so these are the three different types of self-care that we can practice to help ourselves manage our own stress. Okay. Okay, so first and foremost, the most important one is sleep. Okay, so I hope all of you have adequate sleep each day, right? Okay, so although they state here 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day, that one is for a normal adult lah. But of course, it varies among each individual. For some people, to them maybe 5 hours can already, and they wake up the next day without feeling tired or fatigued. So if that is so for you, then of course it's totally fine. So 7 to 8 hours is just a benchmark only. Okay, so why is sleep so important, right? Because it has a variety of functions. Okay, it cleanses the brain of toxins, restores our physical health, our physical body. Okay, helps with information processing and memorization. Okay, so actually the things that we do, the things we see, the things we read throughout the day at the end of the day when we sleep our body will help to transfer all this information into our another portion of the brain, so that we can for long-term memory retrieval. Okay, so sleep is like how it's like maybe you put your money into the bank, your information into the bank like that lah. But if you don't sleep then of course all this information will not be registered into your long-term memory. Okay, so of course it also helps to regulate your mood. You find that if let's say anyone if they don't get enough sleep the night before the next day usually very cranky, very upset, easily irritable, things like that. So it happens to anyone and everyone. Then of course, lastly, that sleep also helps to strengthen our immunity, our own immune system. Okay. Okay, then of course, other than sleep, eating a balanced meal is also very important. Okay, so because what we eat will determine our health, and then our health will also determine how we handle our own stress, how we react when we are faced with stressful situations. Okay, so of course if let's say you don't get enough sleep, already you are cranky, irritable, and then I throw you a stressful situation, that will make it even worse, right? As opposed to if you had a good sleep the night before, you are perfectly rational, perfectly rested. Even when faced with a stressful situation, the same situation, you might not be so affected, so to speak. Okay, so of course a diet also has the same effect. So you can use this my healthy plate gauge, right? So to determine how much meat, how much vegetables, how much whole grains to eat every day. Okay, and then of course to also have regular meals. Okay, of course the amount that you eat also depends on yourself as an individual lah. Some people they they eat not so much, they don't have to eat so much, they feel full already. So of course that one is also based on your own moderation and own gauge. Okay, but most importantly has to be balanced cannot every day eat laksa and then drink all the soup, that kind one that one not considered balance okay, so of course at home also you can opt for nutrient dense snacks. Okay, like if you're hungry, you can have some nuts, but not those roasted ones with a lot of salt. Okay, those healthy snacks you can consume a variety of food, use healthier cooking methods, and then less oil, and then of course to also drink more water. Okay, you will find that all these things are usually we take it for granted but then when it comes to this kind of COVID season whereby everyone around you falling sick that during this time then you will truly know whether the effect of drinking more water, keeping yourself healthy, so that you can not be down with all these things okay. Okay, so of course this one you're also very familiar, especially for those who do marketing, go NTUC. So you can also look for food that is higher in whole grain, lower in calories, or lower in calories and higher in whole grain together as well. And of course the healthier choice. So on top of these, right, nowadays if you also have a habit of buying drinks from outside, whether is it fruit juice or what nowadays even for drinks they also have the grade, the Nutri grade whether Nutri grade A, B, C or D. So of course the higher the grade, A being the more healthier choice that you can consider to purchase. Okay, okay, so of course inevitably this is still Singapore. We still like to go out to the kopitiam, go out to the food court to have our favorite chicken rice, yong tau fu, laksa, whatnot, right? Okay, so, but of course, we can still continue to make our healthier choices when eating outside lah. So for example, if you are eating chicken rice, right, you can opt for chicken breast meat, okay? Ask for extra vegetables like extra cucumber, okay? If you are eating prawn noodle soup, okay, you can, the soup is nice lah, but try not to drink up the entire bowl lah, because it's very high in sodium. And then you can also ask to replace with some bee hoon, the white ones, okay, instead of the yellow noodles. Okay, because yellow noodles has a higher carbohydrate count as compared to the white thick noodles or the bee hoon. Okay. Then of course, if you are outside eating wonton noodle soup, you can also ask for more vegetables, and of course, always try to avoid drinking the entire bowl, even though it's very shiok. And I also agree that it's very shiok, but try not to drink the entire bowl, okay, for our own health. Okay, then of course the last one would be the exercise. Okay, so actually exercise, what are the effects of exercise is that it improves our mood. So even though you just exercise a little bit every day, right, you tend to find that, because exercise releases endorphins into our bloodstream, which is a mood regulator lah. So it kind of makes ourselves feel happier. The mood is lighter. Okay, so if you can easily walk for, if you can walk for 30 minutes a day, or you can also practice these various stress relieving methods, such as deep breathing, yoga and meditation. Or if you have some neighbors, they like to do qi gong, that kind of thing, you can also go down, because qi gong is also involves a variety combination of physical exercise as well as deep breathing methods. Okay, or you can just simply engage in your favorite and enjoyable activities, whichever that you like to keep yourself active, because as long as you keep yourself active, you will be able to reap the positive effects of exercise. Okay, so you will find that sometimes people who are stressed, they go down for a run, go down for a walk, and then because sometimes along as they are doing all these things, they can also just don't think about it for that short period of time, and then sometimes you will find that, oh, the more I don't think about it, maybe after that I find a solution to it, things like that. So sometimes it doesn't help to just keep harping on the same thought over and over again. So exercise provides like a short break, right? Just to disconnect yourself from these issues at hand. Okay, so of course, for emotional self-care, you can also do if you have this habit, like last time when you were young, we like to do write journal, write diary, all those things. So all these things also help us to the process of jotting down our feelings is like helping us to reflect what has happened in the day. And of course, it also serves as an outlet for us to vent, whether is it a positive feeling, whether is it a negative feeling. Sometimes, same as how when we share our problems with our friends, our family, similarly, writing them down, recording them somewhere, because when you're recording, you have to think about what went through, right? So the process of it also helps there's also some stress relieving effect. Okay, so you can reflect about anything. You can reflect about your what you did well, or what you didn't do so well during the day. Then while reflecting, you can also choose to set your priorities, or choose to what you want to focus on also lah. Okay, so it's a very private thing that you can just do easily by yourself at home in a quiet place, maybe at the end of the day as well, just to help yourself lower your own stress levels and go to sleep without thinking too much also lah. Okay, 明天的事明天想tomorrow's things then tomorrow then I think okay, so journaling is somewhat the same as well. You can write your own goals and then jot down your own thinking patterns. Like, okay, so if let's say today you wrote that you feel that I'm stressed. So how did you feel that you came to this stress state? Was it because you were not comfortable with certain changes that was implemented? Things like that. Okay, then of course you can write them down to help yourself discover more about yourself as well. And then of course mindfulness practice, meditation, okay, silence and deep breathing exercises. Okay, will also help to regulate your own stress. Creativity as well also can help you manage your regulate your own stress levels. Okay, so you can simply do an activity that brings you joy, whether is it listening to music, whether is it you go downstairs to the RC center, sing karaoke, or you read a favorite book, do some art. Okay, so most important, if you're able to laugh every day, that can have a really, really big positive impact in your life. Okay, and nowadays we all have YouTube, watch funny videos, TikTok, whatnot. There are a lot of funny videos that we can also watch to entertain ourselves, and just to temporarily take our mind off any stressful events that happen in our lives. Okay, then of course, friends and family, the social support is also very important. If you are able to, of course, we will advocate spending time with your loved ones who can support and encourage you and also lend you a listening ear. Okay, because having someone there to share your problems, even though they can't help you resolve it, but to share your problems with you and give you their empathy and time can also mean a lot in the long run with regards to stress regulation. Okay. Of course, if let's say your area also has any support groups, you can join. You can also consider joining to find peers with similar experiences. So, for example, if you are a caregiver for someone with dementia, right? Okay, the journey itself is very stressful, very long. If you can find a support group, for similar people who have, they are also caregivers for people with dementia, then we can all share our own experiences and seek advice and also find comfort in each other's presence. Okay, so that in the fact that you are not alone. You're not the only caregiver in Singapore who is looking after someone with dementia, for example. Okay, so do you guys have any other additional strategies that help you cope with your own stress? Okay, so anyone has anything to highlight? Like, for example, unless you tell me, or whenever I'm stressed, I go and buy 4D and hope that I strike Toto, things like that. So of course, all these are all different strategies that vary from each individual. Okay, so we all have our own different strategies. Okay, so this one is a short video. Let me see here. Okay. Got sound, huh?
No sound.
No sound. Okay. Okay, have?
Yes, can.
Have,
Raise
okay.
the eyebrows.
Yes, now
Say,
can.
you're 55, you look 35. It's a very encouraging compliment. It helps cemented my thinking I'm on the right track.
My secret to stay young is we don't worry too much, especially people's problem or your own problem. Just put one side, and then must have enough sleep. That's the most important. Then you won't grow old so fast.
In life, we have to think positive, because if you don't think positive, then straight away you defeat yourself.
After you push the weight up, you feel a sense of accomplishment, stress release, also clears your mind, and it gives you a sense of calmness and peace and inner confidence.
You have to dress up, cosplay perfectly. And then people look at you, say that, wow, this auntie so old, do until so well. And it's because I saw myself, and then I also feel happy.
First win normally is very hard, soccer like that. But if you continue overcome the first win, the second win come in, you are running at the same pace. Sometimes you see somebody, you tell yourself, I want to overtake the fellow that. You overtake a person, you feel satisfied.
To me, bodybuilding should be a way towards good health and fitness. You must feel good and feel healthy from the inside, and then you express on the outside.
My life, I do cosplay, I think changed a lot because got something to do and I feel so happy, so active. Yeah.
Running keep me active, at the same time make me feel positive.
Live your life, not your age.
Yeah, so this is the message lah from this video. So it's just simply about doing the things that you like to do, and then inevitably, well, in the process of doing all these things, you will keep your stress at a healthy level lah. Okay. So it's just to live your life, not your age. So your age doesn't matter. You can be 90, you can be 100. You know, doesn't matter, right? Do the things that you like to do. Okay. Okay. Can we just take a quick photo together? Okay, we come to almost the end already. It's almost 3 p.m. I don't want to hold you guys up. Wani, can help us to take the photo, please?
Can.
Okay, so if you can, I want to see all your faces, okay?
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Okay. Okay, so of course, these are our contact details. Okay, for myself and my colleague Ellen. So of course, if you have any questions or any things that you need help with regards to mental health related, you can also feel free to contact myself or my colleague lah. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, so yeah, so other than that, that's the end already. I'll just leave this contact numbers here in case you guys need any help. But otherwise, thank you so much for attending our talk today on stress. And yeah, so you have the QR code to scan also to gain points. So other than that, yeah, have a good weekend, okay, and good Christmas to all. And we look forward to if let's say we have further talks next time also, then look forward to your participation again lah. It's always nice to see all these familiar faces. Really appreciate your time and coming to attend.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. I feel
Thank you.